Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope we have all had a great week. I'm Dan from Trading with Dan. This is our Bitcoin morning update. So we shall go straight over to those Bitcoin 4-hour charts. Bitcoin on the 4-hour, the asset that just does not want to go down. We do not want to come down and backtest this major level of support here. What I will say is that like I have been saying, I think we are basically looking to form a new range. So we do realistically need to form a higher top than obviously this one currently, and then after that point, once we establish a range at some point down the line, I am sure we will come back down and test this $42,000 level. But yes, it does not want to do that at the moment. Obviously, this is looking particularly bullish. If we test this for a third time, you've got to obviously give a higher likelihood, a chance that we'll break through. Obviously, you've got the weekend also looming ahead, so that would be the ideal opportunity for them to push us through. It was the previous weekend that they pushed us through the $42,000 level. So yeah, maybe they're going to push us through $47,000 and towards the wet and wild $50,000 level. And then if we do get up to around there, that would look nice for a wider range. I mean, it could be wider, it could be around the 53,000, but if we are to top out around 50,000 and then trade sideways for a little bit, and then that would be perfectly fine. But yeah, obviously things looking good here. Bitcoin had obviously every opportunity at this point to come back down lower, but it was pretty aggressively bought back up. But like I said, I think we are trying to establish a new sideways trading range, and obviously this is not a high enough level for the top of that range. So we do have to find a new level. But all in all, looking good. Weekend looming. The bias would be to some upside, especially with slightly thinner markets. But yes, there we go. We obviously have stock markets helping us and going crazy, but we'll have a look at those in a little bit. The Ethereum Satoshi pairing as well, we kind of were trying to draw a pennant in, but we kind of traded out of it. We traded below it and then back above it, so maybe it's just a wider. Maybe we needed to adjust these a little bit. I mean, we can obviously put it here and then put this, well, it's difficult to see where to put it, but we could adjust it. But nonetheless, the main take from this is that we are wherever we draw the upside part of this pennant, we are clearly above it at present. But the main takeaway is that we are above this major level of what was previously resistance, previously important level, and is now obviously support. So we can try and make our way onwards and upwards to the next levels. But yeah, this is looking good. This is looking good for the overall health of the crypto market. If we do get this bull pennant play out, then it will be very good for crypto on the whole. Obviously not against this particular pairing for people holding Bitcoin over Ethereum, but yeah, obviously Ethereum doing well kind of indicates the rest of the altcoin market, and just crypto's gonna look good. Bitcoin dominance as well, looking very bearish, which is good for the overall health of crypto, unless obviously you're a Bitcoin maximalist. But if you're a Bitcoin maximalist, you only really anyway. But yeah, there we go. Bitcoin dominance looking like it could come down further. Once we take out this low, then you would expect we are going to start to get a bit crazy. So maybe we do trade out as a potential sideways range in here between these two levels before, well, ideally breaking down, but breaking out of that range. Could be to the upside, but ideally to the downside. But yeah, we've got to keep an eye on that. The dollar index still under this resistance level, so is it obviously looking like it does have a good chance of breaking up, but it hasn't done as of yet. So do we get more sideways here before we make a decision? We shall have to see. Obviously easing off a little bit into the closes today would not be the worst thing for basically just for risk assets. The Ethereum USD pairing looking absolutely fantabulous here, as you can see. testing itself for a third time this level. So yeah, can we get some acceleration up to, well, 3400s, maybe even 3800s over this weekend? A big ask, 3800, but hey, I think we could get up to 3400 if we do see bullish price action. So we've got that going. Obviously starts looking very good, a slightly lower, so obviously better CPI number came in, mainly because of used cars were a bit, used cars eased off. I think the used car prices are up about over 40, maybe 42% year to date, which is obviously ridiculous. That is pushing into the CPI numbers. That is easing off, but what I think we are going to see anyway, I think basically inflation is sticky, is trending, and is here to stay, and it will be a case of the various components of the CPI basically passing on the baton to each other. So used cars is obviously driving it a lot. I think new cars, now that new cars are coming back online, semiconductors in Japan freely flowing again, so new cars coming back. I think basically we're going to see the inflation in new car prices now, and that will take the baton from old car prices. We've also got the massive looming prospect of basically the rents, the increasing rents that are going to feed through to CPI. And the problem with rents is they're over 30% of the weighting. And yeah, these heavily manipulated owners equivalent rents that are not feeding through to the CPI yet are gonna be, I would say they're gonna take on the baton. They're gonna more than take on the baton. They are gonna take on, and they're gonna literally hit the boost button and be a massive upwards impact on inflation. Obviously there's going to be certain things that do deflate. Obviously supply, if we do see some supply like shipping costs come down, supply constraints alleviated, and also if we do see commodity prices back off a bit, I say commodity but mainly oil prices back off a bit, then maybe obviously they will be downward deflationary. Obviously the debt is deflationary. The massive debt we've got, the massive debt built up in every part of the system is deflationary. But yeah, we have got inflationary forces. But I think it's going to be a case of while they might try and look at certain things that are going to ease off, such as used car prices, but other things are going to take it on and drive inflation where it is or higher. It is not transient, it is trending. Certain aspects may be transient, but the inflation as a whole is trending. And don't forget, these statistics are massively manipulated for government benefits anyway. The people that benefit the most from stating inflation lower is the governments and the central banks, because they can keep rates lower and governments can borrow cheaper and just be more blasé with money, which is obviously what they all want to do. They want to buy those votes. So yes, and speaking of buying votes, the current administration in America is struggling in the popularity polls. So I think they pretty much know the only way for them to get votes again is to buy them. So expect some sort of money coming through, especially once the rents do feed through to CPI, and they can't really deny it. And then obviously and then they're gonna have to do something about the people that are struggling with the rents, the people that aren't paying the rents. I mean, it's basically communism. Yeah, it's there. There it is. But yeah, it's gonna obviously impact markets. It's gonna basically it's just gonna throw flames on the inflation fire, which is the problem in the first place. But anyway, we have gone on way too long about that. But the only real point was this little move up was just because of used car prices have eased off a bit because new cars are now hitting the market again. But we just had a little discussion on inflation. It was the CPI numbers yesterday anyway. So let's also now finally go back over to Bitcoin and look at those stochastics. We do know overall they were kind of giving us a not the greatest read, but obviously the higher time frames were looking very good, so we know we're in an overall upward market, but obviously we could have expected some downside, which we were seeing weakness, but obviously that is now translating into transitioning back into strength. Yes, so 4 hour obviously had a very nice bullish reset. So now, whilst we are sat right up at this resistance level, the 4 hour now has plenty of room to run. So that is obviously good. I don't suspect 10 hour will have finished running down yet, but it may have turned back up, but maybe turning up from a higher level. Yeah, there we go. So it's turning up from a higher level. So if this obviously turns back up and has an upward slope, obviously that is good. And then it will do, obviously, whilst the price action stays where it is or moves higher. 12 hour the same. We can probably get some more juice out of this and stay up here, especially over this weekend, and pump us into that into the higher 40,000s towards 50,000. Daily still coming down a little bit. 2-day has turned back up, a very aggressive read, but it can get higher, as you can see. It can get this high and stay this high. 3-day looking very good also. 5-day just has got forever to run along with the weekly. It's got forever to run. The weekly gets back up here. I mean, we're going to be all-time highs. The bi-weekly gets back up here. We're going to be over 100k. And then yeah, monthly got that nice kink in too. So yeah, stochastics have basically had a nice bullish reset from yesterday. Obviously they were dragging us down a bit, but now turn back up and looking good whilst we are at resistance for the third time of asking. So of everything, statistics and probabilities, but those statistics are certainly in favor of upside over this weekend. So yeah, there we go. Let's see what happens. But yeah, there we go. Thank you for listening, guys. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Always do your own research, and I shall speak to you guys soon.